biggest Pulsar yet. It is a beautiful mix of everything under the Bajaj stable. But at this price point, should you be worried? And at this price point, should you even care that it's a mix? Let's find out. So guys, it's been an interesting, really tiring, hot morning testing out the new NS400Z. Well, let's get into the details. Let's talk about engine performance first. Well, if you have ever ridden a Dominar 400 or a Duke 390, there is a lot of resemblance to that. Maybe not as outright madness as a 390, but yeah, if you've ridden a Dominar, well, it's pretty much the same. But how it comes together is that now it is a little bit more refined. The gearbox is much better, the gear shifts are much better. The performance feels much more linear. Bottom end, basically your city speeds in higher gears is much more tractable. But one main thing that I really enjoyed is that the bike really wants to go fast. It does not go like going at 30. It does not like going at 60. Upwards of 70, 80 is when it really comes alive. And basically anywhere upwards of 5,000-6,000 RPM, the typical character of this engine, that has always been there. So when it comes to refinement, there are two spots where a little bit of vibrations come in. One is around the 3,000 to 4,000 RPM mark. You have a little bit of vibes coming up on the handlebar, and then of course higher revs, post 7,000-8,000 RPM. You have that fine vibes coming in. Yes, they are there, but it is not a huge annoyance, especially the lower RPM ones, because the way to ride this bike is you're never at those RPMs. You're blitzing past these RPMs in a second. So that's never really a problem. But yeah, higher revs, it's kind of expected, right? Single cylinder, and that's the typical behavior of a single cylinder. So that is also acceptable to me. So actually, according to me, add some character to this bike, it's like, it's up there and it's going fast. So yeah, city speeds, pottering around, second, third gear, 30, 40 kilometers per hour, there is some heating. But the good thing is that, like I told you, it is quite a tractable engine and gearbox. It doesn't really shut off on you, even if you are in the wrong gear. So that way, they have made those changes very well, with the ECU and the fueling. The ride-by-wire, of course, makes a lot of difference. Some heat, yes, at lower speeds, big capacity single cylinder. The biggest change comparing it to the previous NS is that the radiator is much bigger now. It's basically from the Dominar as well, and there are some small slight changes in the way the panels and all hug together to provide much better cooling. Overall, yes, some heat at lower speeds, lower city speeds. I'm assuming if you are in city traffic, it will get a little bit hot around your legs, thighs. Not a big problem, because very soon you'll be out of there and everything will be cool and fast. Highway speeds, you're sitting just above 5,000 RPM at 100, and it's really refined and smooth over there. At the track over here, we did a top speed of around 160 on the speedo. So I think quite similar to what they said at the launch. That's actually a V-Box tested number. So 154, 156 should be quite close to that. 160 is quite fast, and I think we should call it the fastest Pulsar yet as well. The riding position is actually quite comfortable. Maybe not as relaxed like something like a cruiser or something. It's a sports bike, it's a street bike, so as relaxed as that can be. The best part for me was that even though I'm kind of tall, 5'11", and with boots and everything 6 feet, but I don't feel like I'm on the bike. I'm still in the bike, at one with the bike, which gives you a lot of confidence, basically to handle the bike and throw it around corners and things like that and squeeze through places. And especially when you're braking hard, when you feel like you're on the bike, you feel like, you're like, okay, I'm going out. Basically the first generation, second generation Dukes used to give you that feeling. But this, you're like at one with the bike, and when you're doing hard braking and when you're throwing it around a corner, you feel very confident, and you feel like the whole unit, you and the bike, is one confident unit. So coming to handling, yes, basically this chassis, we know it's been there, it is there on the NS before, it's been on the Dominar. The chassis can do a lot of work. What has been different is from the Dominar rake angle, it has been reduced a slight bit. I believe it is 1 degree, so it's a bit more sharper. So that again gives you that confident handling, a bit more sharper feeling, sharper, confident feeling to turn into corners. It's not as lazy as the Dominar. And of course, while we are at the topic of Dominar, so while there are a lot of things borrowed from the Dominar, this vehicle is actually much lighter than Dominar, close to 10, 12, 13 kgs. In that way, it feels very sharp, very quick, very precise while turning into a corner, very easy to go through traffic. You can do your normal city riding with this without any problem, without ever feeling there is any sort of weight. and it's very confidence inspiring. Like, I did not have a learning curve with this bike because I hopped on and I was dumped right into the city traffic, and everything was fine. I was just, whizzing past, no problem. So yeah, coming to the brakes, I'm really happy with it. Everything stops on a spot and stops on a dime. We have adjustable levers for brakes and the clutch, and once you get that sorted, once you have your feeling that you require with the levers, everything is really spot on. It's really confidence inspiring, larger 320mm disc brakes. Not big fan, or never been a big fan of Grimeca, but yeah, it does the job. I mean, in city the brakes were good, sharp, larger 320mm disc brakes, good fun and very precise. You throw anything at it, you jam, ABS is there, everything precise. You can trail brake, everything feels very confident. Basically, you know how this brake feels if you've ridden any of those bikes. And the track, I thought the Grimecas might be a little bit let's say lazy once it gets a bit heated up, but yeah, no problem actually. Hard braking, it handled this hot climate and maybe about 5-6 laps quite well, and so I'm assuming in city and normal touring and etc you will not face any issues. So precise and sharp, to the point. We mostly rode it in sport mode, so the ABS levels are a little bit lesser than what you would want in probably city or rain riding, but yeah, even then everything was spot on, and we didn't really have a situation where the ABS kicked in, but a dual channel ABS has been there for quite some time now, right? And there should not be any problems with that. We tried different riding modes. We tried turning off the traction control. Traction control goes off only in the sport mode. Little bit of a lazier throttle response in rain, and a little bit slightly better than that in the city riding mode. But yeah, in sport mode it's all out fun. I think most of us are going to just keep it in the sport mode and forget about it. Okay, now coming to the suspensions, yes, it is on the stiffer side as the previous NS. It's quite similar to that actually. The 43mm endurance forks, they soak up bumps well. I think it is also got to do with the non-radial normal tire at front. I think if it was a radial tire, it would be a little bit more stiffer. Probably the non-radial tires at the front probably give a little bit more softness to the impacts you have on speed breakers and potholes. For an outright handling or outright track riding, or a little bit more support in case you're that sort of a rider who want that ultimate finer feedback, yes, it's better to switch to a radial. But I think for most of us this is going to be fine. It's a bit stiff, but it does handle the normal impacts etc better, the undulations etc quite well, so you're not feeling them on your arm. Rear, of course, is, we didn't go all the way up or down, it's at the middle itself. We didn't adjust it, we rode it at the stock condition. It's okay, and as expected from a street bike of nowadays. It's not too hard, it's not too soft, it's right there. So suppose you want to have a lot of fun handling, cornering and track days with this bike, yes, definitely possible. I think just put in a better set of tires, something with front which gives a little bit more support, and you'll have a lot of fun. Probably stickier tires at both ends, and you'll have a good fun, because it's very precise, and you don't feel any place basically where the bike feels heavy. It just listens to you, it just responds to you instantly. So in that way, all sorted, and you can have your track day fun with this bike. So for all the Toros out there, yes, I have good news. I'm pretty sure this will be a really nice touring bike as well, because you hop on, put on a visor up here, maybe a couple of fog lamps, because that's what all Toros do nowadays, right? Put on 2 aux lights and blind everybody. But it can do the touring quite well. Too early to talk about mileage and tank full range etc, but it should be, official numbers are at 28. If it's anywhere close to that, it should be fine. You should be able to do about 250-300 kilometers on a tank full. So a lot of comments on Instagram talking about why it looks so much similar to the 200 NS. Well, basically it's a bigger NS, so it should look like an NS, right? That's the logic what Bajaj gave us, and I kind of agree with that. You can't have an NS that is not looking like an NS. So right now, I think the best part is that this is distinctively different from the entire NS lineup. It is quite clear and quite easy to understand. Okay, this is the big daddy of all the NSs that are around there. The projector headlamps looks really good. In person, it looks slightly bulkier than the remaining NS lineup, and you'll see that yes, it looks from the same family, but it is not the same bike. You see it on road, okay, this is the 400Z. You're not going to ever mistake it for the 200 NS. I think one common thought which everybody will have is, how did Bajaj price it at, the crazy 1.885 pricing? I mean, that is just crazy for a 400cc bike, right? Obvious question that comes after that is that, are there any compromises made? I'm happy to say that there are no compromises made. Bajaj has been able to achieve this due to a whole lot of part sharing, whole lot of brilliant R&D in which they're able to use the same part on different bikes and not deviating too much from that. They have to use new parts all over. Yes, there are a lot of parts which are from the Dominar, there are some parts from the NS, but what's wrong in that? I mean, they went to their parts bin, they picked up what need not be changed, and what needed to be changed, for example, the headlight, new forks up front, new 320mm brakes at front, all these. Okay, 320mm brake comes from the part bit, but still they brought it all together in such a way to give you performance, or give us performance at a very good price. What you're getting with this bike is like some beautiful performance. It's like how the first gen 390s were. This is pretty much the exact price at what the first gen 390s came in, the Duke 390s. And even then we were like, whoa, at this price, this sort of power. I think Bajaj with the Pulsar, the NS range, have done exactly that again 10 years later. So you're now getting something that's really fast, powerful, and now easy on the pocket as well. I don't think there's anything that comes close in terms of performance at this price point. And that said, speaking about build quality that is actually there, it's the typical Bajaj build quality that is not hugely different or hugely better than the previous generation. For example, you compare it to the Dominar, it's exactly what you would expect from the Dominar. If you've seen the Dominar, that's what it is. Similar sort of build quality. I don't see anything bad, but I don't see a huge difference in quality, which is actually a good thing because Dominars were quite well made, and this is also quite well made. So guys, by now I think you know that I'm a big fan of this motorcycle. In fact, more than the motorcycle, I'm a big fan of the value this motorcycle provides, because at this price point, the motorcycle, Bajaj has focused on giving you only that really matters. Basically a good handling motorcycle, a good performing motorcycle, and built to a decent build quality. And if you want more, basically Bajaj says if you want us to add more features, you will have to end up paying more, right? If you want a better screen up front, if you want better adjustable suspensions, you need to add more to that ex-showroom price. So the great value that this bike provides, that is what I'm a big fan of. As with every new big Pulsar that came along, I think this is going to really change the game. I think you're going to see a lot of this around. I think you're going to see a lot of this flying past you, and I think it's going to be the game changer in this segment all over again. So yes, I am a big fan of the Pulsar NS400Z, and hopefully I'll see you on one as well.